I can't stop. This is just so natural. It's turned out to be so entertaining. Speaking through the energy from 7:30 this morning. It is now 11:58 on the 3rd of November 2016. The last segment when I had actually been waiting all day for some boots to be delivered to me, and it's just really great the way it got worked in. But it's back to suppose you don't like the sound of your own voice, because I opened with that on another part of production, and I've noticed this is not about only suppose you don't like the sound of your own voice. As I'm speaking, if I pay more conscious attention, I could take appropriate breaks, breathe in, breathe out, carry on. Oftentimes when I speak, I stop. I do not continue the sentence. I go to somewhere else and hopefully I come back to the same place and connect and move on. It's interesting, even though I do have a consciousness about my own voice. I wanted to get to the point where I'm speaking through the energy, through my energy, what I'm feeling, and continuing along the path of speaking about everything, whether it's coming up consistently, inconsistently, whether it's something somebody would agree with or not. Definitely speaking from what has happened to me. Probably the only thing that came up, I was initially explaining that I used to sit and monologue as a young mother with my baby in my arms, and I said I had an 8-track tape, and I actually didn't have an 8-track tape. I just had a tape, a cassette tape, because an 8-track tape is actually a circular reel, almost like a circular reel of film, but it was just audio back in the day. And what I actually had was just the version after that, which was audio cassette. So basically, everything I've used that has come inspired into my life has a basis of truth. It can, it does link to what really was. Up until the last segment, the delivery segment of Lavinia's Diary, number 10, I had been feeling I want to finish this, I want to end this, this babbling on, because I'm very conscious of my own voice, I'm very conscious, I feel very self-conscious and uneasy within the subject of something did happen to me, of attributing that to other people and that sounding like blame, and having been through the experience where I did point fingers and blame, and having gotten to a place of not people, just to break the conversation bit again, not to deliberately blame people who were not part of things, but as part of an association, an institution or organisation. But having gone through that and feeling that I've been put in that position, and yet also if you have a spiritual faith as well, where you believe in the law of the universe, the law of attraction, that somehow that has been brought to you and attracted that to you, but then you've got to deal with the reality of the moment of, right, it's here now and I've got to get out of it. If things are going on and somebody's trying to work something towards you, or is scared of you finding out something, and you get on the phone to somebody about something and they're in the flat next door, or you come home and you realise somebody's watching you through the keyhole, and all these really creeped out kind of things going on. And you believe in the law of attraction. You don't want to blame and hate, but by the same time, you don't want to accept people in your life that are toxic, or situations that are toxic. So, but having worked through that, lived through the energy, moved house through the energy, painted through the energy, created music, walked through the energy, got back to work through the energy, drove through the energy, sit here speaking through the energy, so conscious about the sound of my own voice. I'm really glad for the different tonage of the voice, and even though conscious about it not being a completely interesting subject or being a broad-minded subject, because it's very me, self, and I'm very conscious of that criticism when it comes to me. There was a lot of blessings and healing, and actually that thing about it being closed off has gone. So as I'm speaking, and I'm going through this self-healing therapy, because regardless of how entertaining it sounds, and regardless of how much let's pretend there is in there, let's do this as a performance. The performances and whatever content it is healing me. The only thing that's now starting to really press on me is my shoulders. The painkillers wear off, but it works. So when you're really doing set the intention in the universe, my intention was to heal myself. I got to a place where I understood, despite going over old patterns and trying to raise awareness about it, I understood there's only so much people can do. And if it isn't theirs, it isn't theirs. Then it's exactly right. They don't have to have anything to do with it, which means they won't be a participant. They don't have to change anything or be a part of anything. It's not theirs. It wasn't theirs. So in your place of who is it, but you're asking who is it, but you're not really that genuine about it, because really what you want to do is just get into your own and go on. But expression, I think what I'm trying to be urged towards, and again I've got this impatient humming in my right ear, is that getting it out there does change, and maybe that's what you have to do it for. I know it's definitely what I have to do, because I'm trying to pretend I'm speaking to somebody else, and I'm trying to inspire the people. So I'm trying to be a motivational speaker at this point, in this typical name the obvious, which everything I've seen maybe just be seen by some people as that. It feels different. It feels different than when it started off at 7:30 this morning. So I've done 5 hours of work so far. And I really felt like, here it is again. I want to finish a production. I want to get this stage of stuff out there so I can get on with other things. And it's been like that. I said in the last segment about I felt like I was going to die my whole life. We're all going towards that journey. We're all going back to what we were doing before. But I've always had a very strong sense of, sense of mortality, of having to deal with death from an early age, because I had lived with the conditions which my experience was, and my things like bounced me back and forward from there quite a few times. So I was not the easiest child to parent, despite everything else that went on. It's never easy for a parent to have a child that is not well, so it's very concerning. But you face that on a different level. I do go through stages where I'm quite concerned about, is this it? Is this it now? Is it today? Woke up this morning, still going. I haven't always felt like that. I've gone through. I think that the part of that is just sitting back. So all the ruffles that you can often hear is me moving around as I'm holding the laptop and recording. But I think that is part of the grieving process. I think when you get to the stage in your life, if you're very blessed and people have lived very long, or you've gone through a couple of situations where people are very young and you didn't expect that to be their end, and you're still trying to come to terms with it and overcome it, it can be, I think that's just part of you going in and out of it from moment to moment. Some moments you have really strong moments, particularly if you go out to work, where you can just keep your mind off everything in a way, and just keep going. It's always there. You're lucky if you get through the day, and the tears, you can drive past the tears or keep running ahead of your feelings in that sense. And just remember someone in the most loving way you can, and if you feel their presence, so, and if you hear that message, it's really different here where I am. So it's a lot, but it's good to be able to do something. I think what I really want to share most of all is that journey of solitude. I keep going on and on about it, and this has all come about because of repetitive patterns, and it will heal out because of repetitive patterns. So in a way, you're kind of replacing the thing. I used to be a cigarette smoker. I used to be random at it, and then I became a very heavy smoker, and I eventually gave up smoking. But I found at times I didn't really replace it. I didn't really overcome it. I just replaced it with food at times. So, but I think you have to go through a process of taking it on at every level. Even though people that you said, you move on, you can't always be about blaming other people. There is some, but they also say, adhere to what the thing is. Pay attention to the stages you're at, and this is what this adventure is. Worked out to be the hugest monologues. I mean, monologues are long anyway, but the time recorded is turned out to be quite a few hours, more than I expected actually. So I'll be interested to see how I'll get this out there. I always make things into a product, or I don't know if I'm just going to leave this as free for anybody to listen to and just be out there. It's not a new journey to me, but the stage of actually making it public, put it in the public place is. I suppose in some ways I'm concerned it could be, I find it, some of it incredibly boring and some entertaining, so I should have to listen. The thing is, once you start being a self-creator or self-publisher, you have to go over and over your work, but sometimes you still miss things. As higher standards you want to produce, you can still miss things. You know, I tell you what I've learned today, it doesn't have to be about closure anymore. That was the biggest lesson that came through, really. Now I'm not looking for something to close off. I think that is a let go. And I listened to something online with a really well-known person who does a lot of healing work, and it was an author, and this I can't really say, I'm scared to say names because I haven't asked permission, and I don't really know a lot about that. So in one thing I have trepidation because I put my work out there, and even though I've explained, I've been taught this by other people and shown it. Some of it I use formations in my work. It's a big step to take because it may be that you breach something unintentionally, But I heard that the other day, and it's interesting if you could hear something and you hear it in a really good way, and it comes to sharpen your life for you in a really healing way. And so I had always been looking for things to be closed and over, and that has happened for me, and it has worked for me sometimes. But in this creativity, this is about things being closed and over when it comes to accepting what you may be called to do, or really what feels really good to do. And this is very time consuming. It's not my paid work that I do where I have a job and have a business in a sense where I can go out to work, which allows me to pay my bills and get myself through the most ordinary part, the necessary practical things in life. This is something I give a lot of time to, which at the present moment isn't in that stage. And I don't mean to be crass by going on about money, but I want to be real about journeys and what it is. I have managed to get some attention towards my work, and when I've looked at other people's work, I've often wondered about this stage. So you see people in the internet, things that look so good, glossy and great, and look profitable, and everything is profitable in its way. Like, this is very profitable to me, health-wise, in spiritual wise. It takes up a lot of time, but it enables profitability in other areas of business, even though in and of itself these are works that are not sold, not as yet. These are not sold pieces of work. These are not commissioned pieces of work. The only commissioner here of this piece of work is the need to heal. It's when things got so bad that the kind of journey committed to me, and I committed to it. Once I started to put things out there, and again I will say it again, and things changed. So it is really good to share. It is much better sharing than keeping things to yourself. And I always have that knowing. I love things like the law of attraction, the law of the universe, and the law of love, and really that whole industry and all those people who have built a complete industry around really speaking about living your best and really connecting to what moves you forward and what drives you onto better things, because that is really what's happened to me. Sometimes I listened to it and looked at it, and I thought when it came to it would look a certain way. I remember designing an art show for how things would work out, and nothing came to like that. It didn't feel like that. how I designed it, because you're really in the moment. Like for today, it's now 12:13, and I can't see anything past getting this out there. What I am following is how good it feels and how much lighter I feel. And there are other things to be done. The kitchen needs to be cleaned, the whole flat needs to be scrubbed from top to bottom, it needs to be decorated, it needs to be furnished. And until I get out to work and I'm not sitting at home doing this type of thing, am I really going to make that happen? Because I need to get out there and put the hours in. Then that can be exhausting, let me tell you. My home project is something that it has to build, and I'll have to get used to finding a way to connect to it and do something with it. I'm at the stage I don't know what to do with it. I think people go out and get deals or sponsorships. I don't know. I've got resources where I can work, but when some work I'm so exhausted, and then it's like my life is continual work. I don't get a break in between. So if I'm not going out to work, I come home and I focus on myself healing. And it's a joy. It's not so much as a trudge of a job. Even when I go out to work, it's not a trudge of a job, because I enjoy what I do. All aspects of what I do, I'm very blessed in the fact that there's something about it I'm experiencing that I get something from what I'm doing. It's really getting to the art of something here. This is getting to break free moment. So I'm gonna waffle, and what has emerged, what has come up, is really even more energy, more inspiration. Chuck it out. Just chuck it out. They're gonna. Why is this big thing about people coming after you? Why is it not just love? It just doesn't always feel like that. Unfortunately, there is toxicity. I feel more inspired, more strength. Put it out there and let it go. And that's what I find I had to be able to do, was to put it out there and disconnect. So it didn't no longer become personal. People may criticize it, they're in the state of that. Why would you have bothered? Why did you even pay to even make that? And then sometimes you agree with them, but a lot of my things I loved, and it took me time to love it. Like my art collection, it took me a long time to really become at one with what I was doing. I remember saying it to someone a while back who called me, and I said, to be honest, I've really got to. There's something about the work. I did the art collection, and though I wanted to do product application, so I knew I had the capacity, I have the capability of designing sets of things. I can produce things, but my quality had. When I did actually sell things, the things were of reasonable good quality, but there's a commercial way. There was just a pattern I had to come up with. I didn't feel like I was selling myself out or compromising myself to what other people's standards were, but that came up to my standards. But as simple as things are, is it seems just to make something or put something together, because I've been buying stock for quite a few years of different little things that I think I could bring together, and I had to have meaning to it. It had to come across. I'm getting really dizzy now, in a really specific way that I could connect to sell. There's two things that go on. You have to connect the energy to something to be able to attract somebody to what you're doing. And the quality of what you do has to be attracted to the standard of what they want. And the aesthetic of it has to be what they wanted to put, wherever they wanted to put it. So that you have to get every line of connection right. And it's something I personally feel I can't force it. I looked at all of what I was doing, and I know feelings, the emotional connection to things is. If you listen to all the entrepreneurs and motivational speakers out there, they'll say to you the same thing, that there is an emotional connection to what you do. So I just went along what I was emotionally connected to. The fact I was in an industry that I couldn't articulate it years ago that I was, or maybe I did, that I was emotionally connected to, but I really had incredibly strong feelings for and belief in that, regardless of the barriers and what it looked like, that certain people that looked like you and that were like you didn't go into there, even though it had its effects, without a doubt, but the true foundation of it had no effect, because I believed in what I was going to do, that I could do it, and I went out there and I've done it. And not only that, I felt spun out of it at one point, but I went back to it and continued to do it. So it meant to me that it was meant to be. So I'd gone on to the thing that was meant to happen. And so because I've had success, and that's what I don't want to be wrong about. It's not that I'm an unsuccessful person. It's not that I'm unsuccessful at all. I was successful in what I did. It's just that there was an interruption to what happened, and it had such a deep effect, an immobilizing effect on me. And even though from the outside, even I looking out from the outside, I've consistently looked in and thought, couldn't you have done that? Why did you have to go that way for so many years? Why didn't you get up? And this, that hell conversation went on for years. And of course, it attracted many people other people who were saying the same thing. That said, anyway, I don't want to keep on going down that road. Understanding that connection to being an entrepreneur and it's not just being about an entrepreneur, just being successful full stop. It doesn't matter what it is. It might just be getting to the sink and washing up every day. But it's really knowing that emotion. And the strongest emotion was after getting back to it was doing the writing and allowing that to emerge. I did publish poems online years ago, but then that stopped. And then I went off to something else, and then this emerged. And there is a bit of a mismatch in my perception and conception of everything, because maybe what other people see and what I felt was completely different. At times everything felt completely unsuccessful. And that's probably because you're a driven person and you're a perfectionist in that sense, which is very unrealistic. And if that is a problem, perfectionism is, even though nothing is perfect. But you're just trying to drive. You've got this idea. You've got a vision. That's it. You've got a vision, and you just want to meet it. You want, as you've seen it, for it to be reflected to you in what you create. And I had big problems when what I had envisioned actually turned out to be something else. But then again, that was the journey of like this let go of there is no closure. There isn't going to be a closure, and that's what you have to work with. You don't work towards closure. Part of that journey was actually don't work towards that vision, because it may not be your vision. Your vision is really as it happened naturally, and as you flowed in it, and you add the ism to that, to whatever that word is, and it becomes slightly stronger, so it became flowism. So today it has been, you're going to do your oral diaries. I was trying to upload the other day, trying to put CD. I'm new to this kind of technical side of things, of getting the file size right, getting the type of size, and I don't think I had length of time for the thing to actually take to the upload system. And I was wondering all the while, how am I going to make an hour-long CD now? I've made about 3 days of a CD. Nobody may ever listen to. But it's just do as you do anyway. It's another half an hour, over half an hour. I can't believe it. You'll be like solitude when you've been in for so long. You don't really talk deep to a load of people anymore. It's just easy to really get it out there. It feels great. Just feels great. I've proved it. That's the thing with self-healing therapy. I said it a long times, and I was doing it, and it's really getting to that stage when it actually manifests. It actually is doing what it says it does. You know it does because you've said it, but it's seen it in different levels. Like I knew it worked for writing because it had worked for 20 odd years with writing, even longer than that, before I actually started to put my own, really going to the momentum I did from 2015 of getting my work, since 2014 actually, of getting my work out there. And it hasn't been about it's kind of known that I will do something, but the way it came about, even I was surprised by it. Though I was told in the demonstration that would be the case, though I drew and painted Joy of Healing, and just about all of those larger paper collections, which featured books. But even at the time when I was actually painting those things, I couldn't imagine how I would feel or fulfill that, or that would be shown to me, presented to me, gifted to me to do as a reality. And look, years later, after completing the collection and actually getting it online, and there's still a lot technically to do due to that, to really bring out the fullness of it, that it came and that it actually came into fruition. I'm really trying not to break these conversations, these sentences down. But it's come true. And it's still back to, suppose you don't like the sound of your own voice because your tongue is too fat for your thing and you have a lisp and it doesn't sound as apparently as eloquent as everybody else, but then it's not supposed to, because it's just supposed to sound like you. 50 odd, 25, 20 odd, 15, 90 odd, regardless of what year you have been able to have life till. It's just about healing from within. That anybody could do anything. But maybe if you didn't have the knowledge that you can heal, you don't necessarily have to go and pay somebody a fee, but you may do just as well as if you do even better, maybe. Because everything works to heal. You may heal somebody by going to sit for them and listening to them giving you advice, and the way you receive the advice heals them, it heals you. All of it works. Sometimes it's you work by yourself, but do you ever really, or you work with an energy that is comforting to you? But in a way you work with everybody, because you work with, like I work at home, with the person who designed this home, to the authority who said, a certain amount of this private estate or this estate you build has to be given to people in social housing. Because I'm a social housing tenant and I'm incredibly grateful that I can be. Had it not been for social housing, I would have been homeless. I would not have been able to make it. I wouldn't even like to think that I would be. I would hopefully that something else would happen for me, but I'm very grateful for how I've been able to live. And I really, really like to appreciate this flat more. It's like I got here, it's such a dinky little flat. I don't really use the balcony as much because it tends to, it's still a bit too public, I kind of like private spaces when it's outdoor spaces. But I really love it. And this is why I've gone through so many different things in this area in this time, but they've been very objective things. That's what it's been. I've been to the stage where I got stronger. Actually, when people have been through stalking, they have to heal without closure within the stalking, and it is possible, because this morning has been all about that for me. I came to this journal thinking I still needed closure. I woke up this morning thinking I just need to say one more thing, one more diary, and it will be closed off. And in fact, that wasn't the journey. The journey was not closure. It was about, this is what you do. This is what makes you feel better. And it's not about profit or gain. It's just, the gain is that healing within. But if I was to look at it as subjects, and I'm not a specifically political person, blah, 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 and that kind of I have a lot to say about religion being contradictory and speaking out in critical terms sometimes about what I've experienced. My political journey is not that brilliant because I don't see myself political, joining political parties and all that kind of thing. It's not. I appreciate the movement that created choice, the civil rights movement, and everything that the people that went before me who got up and said, I have the right to vote. Yes, you do. You really do. Thank you for fighting for me. Thank you for fighting for my choice. But what that has to do with anything, what I was saying is that I have been, when, I don't know if it's political or social issue, it's more of a social issue, but when people have been stalked and gone through any kind of antisocial behaviour, some people don't want to move, and why should you? If you're living somewhere where you're completely happy and then somebody starts stalking you, looking outside you, throwing things at your windows, why should you have to get up and move? They should be asked to, try and find them the help. It's the same thing like if you do go to some of the places for help, sometimes you can be told you need to get psychiatrically assessed. And everybody has to have, you have to have procedure, and you have to have some kind of structure. That is understood, that is reasonable cause, that is, or whatever. But it could be very hurtful. I personally wasn't forced to go down that route. I thought I'm just walking down the road, and I know when I was young and this happened, I just said yes to a date. And once I'm responsible for my actions and what I choose, I chose from where I was at as a young love at the time. I wanted to experience love. I was still open to having more children and building a family and building a relationship with someone. And when it comes to energy, even though there were times I was on my own, I was absolutely heartbroken. But I used to go through this really strange thing where I'd actually literally feel as though I was in the happiest marriage ever. I think this is why I wrote that I drew the twin souls sketch painting in the whole book. It was that experience that I really, though I had not been, I had really been in love, or I was really loved by somebody. And it wasn't the feeling of the relationship just gone that was never that exploded into a whole campaign of 7 years of something else. But there were people I adored as I was coming up. You know, my experiences were very not what I really want to go into now, but I used to understand. I used to really get this really great feeling of someone who really loved me and would love my daughter, wouldn't reject us both. Because of my early experience, there was always this thing about being seen as really slack and dirty and not being accepted by some people who just didn't understand what the trauma it was. But I don't know if it was premonitions of one day, maybe it'll be returning to what I did, so I may not experience it in this body, or I may experience it in this body. I don't know. And that was a. I've always been privy to these kind of sensations, and maybe to clinical psychologists and stuff like that. They'll say I'm crazy, or that things that don't exist, that they've got a different name for it, and you speak to somebody who's a spiritualist healer or something like that, and they will say to you, know, you're connected to someone who's going to come into your life, or who had been in your life and from a different life, and you haven't disconnected, though you come to this life, that their journey is to stay with you as your guardian. And maybe that is really true. When sometimes you're just turned away from it, or you go into your relationship, and that day you just ask one question, and you actually find out you have not been the only person here. You know, this has to leave. Or when you do go down a bad path, you go down. But if you've ever come up and you're just not the one, you just think, well, I may as well just be the mistress there forever. To anybody, to anybody that I meet in the future, it just doesn't matter until you really realise it works for some people. I don't want to denounce it. It may be hurtful to people who have wives and stuff like that, who think, people who decide to do that, or women or a man who decides to be the other person in a marriage, whether that's the man's having I don't know if you call if a man is married, if there's a heterosexual marriage and a man decides to have a boyfriend, is he called the mistress as well? Because if the man decides to have a woman, she's the mistress, or is he the mister? So that's interesting. I'm sure there's the answer out there. I don't have it right now, but I like to be open-minded about the relationship dynamic, even though I have gone through at some points, at times I was writing my books, I'd gone through that dynamic of a female attraction, which I'm not even going to pretend. You can read a person's voice and emotions, and one thing about putting an audio out is that it can really be seen into, and that was one of the things that once you've been through a level of accusation and you've lived at that almost your whole life, been accused of being something, it's kind of why you can really speak and blab on and go on and just put yourself out there and let people come and peck at it the way they want, because especially if you haven't done what you've been accused of, or you just come up in a situation, you just trying to just be who you are, and this, that and the other. And it's true enough as that was presented to me, I presented that to other people. So I've been that way with other people, and that's something that I had to accept and come to terms with. But I was going to say, but I'm not against. I don't have to say I'm not homophobic or anything like that. You figure it out yourself. I'm not even going to But I would tell you from my heart, I don't have a problem with dynamics in relationships in the sense if two women want to be together. I think a relationship is sacred regardless of gender. If I have a problem about anything, is why people have to go up anywhere and explain who they go to bed with and that be their identity. I think that if anything is discussed, is that who's anyone to put anybody in that situation and have people have to fight for rights because of who they choose. Are you kidding me? We should have never done that. Should never have happened in society, but it did. It's the reality. That's how I feel about it. You can, but having said that, I do not feel that comfortable being pursued for a same-sex relationship. I understand if somebody looks at you and they find you attractive, there's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't want to hurt a woman, so to speak, because if that's what it is that I was seeing, because she may decide to find me attractive. If I was a man, I'd probably be seen as a cross-dresser because I'm always in jeans or hard boots. I've been wearing hard, but just that's the kind of work I do with some of the equipment I need. To some people that's attractive. To some people they automatically assume because you may look a bit masculine that you're a bit butch and that is your way. Now, that is not experiences that I wanted to get. I went through certain things when I was young, and I understand the pattern of where it came from and why it was like that. But that is not something, I know the core of who I am. Some people come and they're very open to both sexes, thank goodness. Some people only want one sex or the other. I know what I always wanted, and then I know what affected me. But then I know what I've always wanted. And maybe to some people, for me to even say that, they think I'm a closet. I ain't a closet nobody. If I loved a woman, I would just come out and say, I'm not hiding for nobody. If that's who I wanted to date, that's who that I would just say it. I would just do that. I've explored so much when it comes to sexuality and how I feel about things, what's coming. As I said, I've done it on almost every level that I've had to do it. But that doesn't work for me. My love has always been to be with, to find the right compatible male, and for that to be what works for me. But I'm very open about that in the sense that I never really want to force anybody to do anything or be with me. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'm forever grateful that I've been able to feel what a sense of love is. Even though I wasn't able to keep aligning with that, specifically, like identifying it with that in that way. But it has given me a kind of barrier, a kind of a lead kind of thing, for me to say, that is how this relationship is supposed to feel. It's supposed to feel rejuvenated. I'm supposed to look at them and think, okay, that you may disagree with me, you may have an argument about something, but it doesn't make you less attractive to me. Whereas in other relationships, when those arguments get just turned, each time the disagreement, it was just chipping away until the tap was just completely turned off and didn't exist. But whereas I think in a love relationship, if it's unconditional, that tap, it's not a tap, it's just complete. You can keep flowing together, you keep connecting together, you keep going on. But I think I don't know. There was some kind of something that tried to come into my life, and I'm not a woman against women. I prefer a society and a life where everybody's equal, and as women we don't have to band together and hold tight together because men have done this or men have to be against women. I've been the only woman in a situation where men feel they don't like you being there, and then women want it to, and it's reality. It has had to be. There has had to be positive discrimination. There has had to be, but just for these purposes, when I'm sharing my personal self, that's what I preferred. I preferred not to be the best friend, but to have many friends and to be more universal about everything. And I suppose that's quite upsetting about people who are traditional about marriage, because even though it would be good to experience what is known as a monogamous relationship, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if it's not. I think it's one person, you be who you are. So You may be dating someone who has an addiction, sexual addiction. They may need various partners. That's what makes them happy. It may be they're addicted, they're not well, and they just don't want to face that. It may be they're not addicted, and that is generally part of their choice. That may be part of your choice. It's, you know, sexuality, sex, and orgasms, and all things that can make you feel a variety of sensations, and one of them is freedom. And sometimes, if you really have a great time with someone and they connect with your body and you absolutely let go, the world becomes more abundant. So you may well feel that that may be in a variety amount of people, which, if it's permissive and it's not hurtful to anybody and it works emotionally for everybody and it's safe, there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. Here I give it. It's all about me, and it's all about you, and you being me, and me being you. And I don't know really what this is going to be, but I'm going on and it's getting an hour. Shut up! Shut up! Will you shut up, please? Oh my god. Will I ever do this? Oh dear, take the Lavinia movie in. Oh dear, you sit down there and say such a thing. Eh? With all your tongue big up in your mouth and you spit up everywhere. Oh, you know this thing is going to be good. Why are you sitting here doing this thing when you could be doing so much other things? Who are you? Who are you? Don't know really. Peace and I'm out. Actually, that was a really heavy conversation. But I put it out there. Lady Snatchflow. Listen. When I close my eyes, I see pink. I see a frame. I see an animal which is not too clear, and I don't know the animal's name. 42, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 42, 30. We have been going at this a while. It's over. Haven't taken my vitamins yet, haven't taken my medication yet, and I need to start the day. Thank you, thank you, thank you, life, universe, and all the beings here present. Thank you in advance that if this is ever heard by anybody other than me. I'm still not sure about the 2 devices in my home. I'm still not sure about the mind games I have always known. I am forever grateful, thankful, and feel blessed for this voice and the ability to vocalize my inner chest. For the gift of poetry, for the gift of improv, for the gift of unrestrained expression, for the gift and strength of being able just to say it as I feel it, as I've gone through it, as I've been in it. Praise creation, praise love. For prayers that are connected to no religion, praise creation, praise love. For a peace that is waiting for expression, praise freedom.